All right, now we're joined by Charles Davis, the voice of Madden here inside the TCO studios. And Charles, thank you for joining me. The Vikings, 11 picks on draft night, starting with Christian Darrisaw. Your thoughts on the Purple this past weekend?
I thought they did a nice job, and you saw, in my mind, threads of what you're used to seeing. Mike Zimmer, as I call it, the Zimmercratic oath. First, do no harm to my defense. And he's seeing places where he wants to supplement and help his defense out, because it's been one of the top defenses in the league for a long time now. But at a certain point, you have to make sure you take care of guys. And I think Anthony Barr's injury last year helped point something like that out. Danielle Hunter not being Danielle Hunter. Okay, so let's start to supplement it. I thought that Rick Spielman did a really nice job in the first round when the Jets approached him at 14, because he could have stuck there and chose an excellent football player. I don't know if Jalen Phillips was in play for him there at that point based off of what Zim likes to do. But at that point, okay, I hear your offer. I'm going to get a guy I need anyway and add to my riches. And he goes and gets Christian Darrisaw when he moves down to 23, which was a screaming need for Minnesota to get a big offensive lineman to plug in. So I thought that overall all night, and I go back to the defensive side, and I'll go quick on this. Chaz Surratt, the linebacker from North Carolina in the third, well, that's supplementing Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr on that level of the defense. Getting Patrick Jones, getting Janarius Robinson. Do those guys' body type not remind you of Danielle Hunter?
Right, yeah.
I mean, these are these long, lean, athletic sprinter types. That's exactly what you're looking at. To be able to go ahead and get Kellen Mond as a quarterback. See, I've had a lot of people in the last few days sit there and go, "Oh my goodness, Kellen Mond, he's coming for the quarterback spot. He's going after it." No. Kirk Cousins is the starter. And Kirk Cousins will continue to be the starter. But when you look at the backups the Vikings currently have, I think Kellen Mond slots in at number 2 to me right away. No offense to the guys who are already on the roster, but I went through that when Kirk Cousins got picked by Washington. Because you remember, that was the RG3 year.
Yep.
And when they came back in the fourth and got Kirk Cousins, people lost their mind. They're like, you already got a quarterback. Yeah, but have you seen the backups? This guy's better than the backups right away. And as it turned out, they were prescient in making that pick because he ended up being the starter down the road. So I love the idea of going and getting a young developmental quarterback that I think is your number 2 by the time preseason is over, because you can't say exhibition in the NFL, you get in trouble. But by the time preseason is over, I think he's your number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, when you look at the number 2 quarterback spot, and again, that was something the Vikings addressed as you brought up. Do you see Kellen Mond finding a niche in this offense early, kind of like Jalen Hurts did, whether it's a wildcat type package, and you use his ability to be able to run knowing that Kirk is your true number 1 quarterback?
I think that there's a possibility of that, but I think it's less likely with a Kellen Mond. Not that he can't do what Jalen Hurts did. In fact, I think when you guys watch the tape, and you have, were there times when you watched him, did you find yourself a little bit surprised when he showed that athleticism and getting into the open field and running?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. If you disagree, just yell at me. But here's what I saw. I saw a guy that was so coached up on his drop, on how he carried the football in his drop, that he looked somewhat robotic at times. He looked very tight to me, like he was thinking through every step along the way. And then when he would jet out of there and hot-footed and go, all of a sudden you go, whoa, that guy's loose. He's nimble. He's athletic. He's free. That's what I would say. I bet you by the end of year 1, you'll see Kellen Mond look looser in his drop. The ball carriage won't be the same. But that's how you have to do it when you play for whoever you're playing for in college, when they want you a certain way. Jeff Tedford was that way at Cal. Go back and watch Aaron Rodgers at Cal, where he kept the football in his ball carriage, where he kept it on his shoulder, and then watch him as he evolved as a pro, where the ball came down, he was looser, it was a more natural carriage. I think you'll see the same thing with Kellen Mond.
Speaking of Cal, we signed a guy named Cameron Bynum, cornerback turned safety here with the Minnesota Vikings. And, just being a former safety yourself in the NFL when you were undrafted by the Dallas Cowboys,
Thanks for reminding me. I feel a lot better right now. My confidence level just jumped up big time there. Thank you.
I'm here to pass on some excellence. So, but a guy like that, like, what is the goal for Cameron Bynum, a safety that we want you to develop, but you may have to play? Like, what is the trajectory for a guy like him?
I think for Cam Bynum, coming from Cal, a very intelligent player, because you have to be to get into Cal. You guys know that. But I think the ability to swing back there and understand, he's got an opportunity to not just play early, he's got an opportunity to be one of their frontline guys. Because Harrison Smith, as you guys well know, he's the Batman back there, but he needs Robin. And Anthony Harris did a really nice job over the last few years being Robin for him. So when Harrison went on his sorties, okay, when things would get kind of crazy on the defensive side, meaning people are moving the ball, certain plays are being run, you could almost see Zim yell, "Hey, 22, come here. I need you to fix that." And he would put him in a spot to fix that play. Well, you have to have someone on the back end who covers you to do that. I mean, it's like watching a bad war movie, right? Cover me. Well, that's what you get. Cam Bynum, he's going to be able to do that. And I think understanding that that's a path to play early will swing him to that safety, and he'll embrace that role pretty quickly. And I think that'll be interesting to watch and see how he develops, because that's a big spot for the Vikings in order to let Harrison Smith be all over the field.
Yeah, and you talked about a guy that can come in and play earlier, a guy that they have to plug in. Looking at, you bought these two guys up, looking at Patrick Jones and then Janarius Robinson, two guys that are technically, they're kind of built, long, lean, guys that Mike Zimmer likes to get after the quarterback. How quick can you see? Because we don't know what Daniil Hunter's going to look like. We don't know how quick he's going to be back. And then Stephen Weatherly, they bought him back as a veteran. But these young rookies, if they get out there early, they still have DJ Wanham. But what do you see for those two defensive ends in this defense?
Well, Zim's going to push him forward as fast as he can. And in a sense, I get the idea that, okay, we expect Daniil to be back and be Daniil again. So who wants the other side? Who wants to be the first guy on the other side? Let's go, Rook. Come on, Rook. Compete, and see what they do. And then, of course, obviously, as the league has evolved into those nickel and sub packages, almost from down one now, we keep talking. Remember in the old days when we had to get the third down and people would trot out on the field? We even start, like, look at Green Bay the last 2 years.
Yeah.
They were essentially a college defense. And if you could actually run the ball and mash, as San Francisco did and others, Minnesota had some success running the ball and doing that. You could do that with them. But they played pass first, and more people are headed that way. Well, okay. In that case, these guys might get on the field even more.
Yeah.
Sub packages, people rushing the passer. Now you've just got to make sure you tackle people when they run by you. You just can't run past them looking for the quarterback. You got to make sure that guy running by you with the ball is still the object of where your eyes go.
I think with all that said, of course the Vikings can't make any more picks, but how many players or how many transactions are the Vikings away from actually being a contender?
I think that they're less than probably what we would say because of the way the league goes. I mean, we go through this every year. Worst to first in a division, I think, was it 15 or 16 of the last 17 or 18 years? At least one team in a division has gone from worst to first. Every year, whatever the number of playoff teams are. See, I got to get my math computed now because now we've got 7 teams per conference.
Yeah.
So it's changed from the 6. But every year, almost half of the teams the year before don't make the playoffs. Here comes someone else. So if the Vikings are back and you're able to run the ball, that's why the Darisaw pick is a big deal for them up front. Wyatt Davis, the guard from Ohio State, who just wants to just beat you up. I mean, if you play phone booth football, Wyatt Davis is the guy you want. And let's face it, Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison are going to love him because that's what it's there for. So I think it can be quicker than what people think. Build off of Justin Jefferson. Irv Smith becomes the frontline guy. And then on the defensive side, we've already talked about Zim supplementing his defense. I don't think they're as far away as people think because doesn't Chicago have a lot of questions to answer? And we know Detroit does. So here's where we are. Green Bay, of course, they got a question to answer that no one expected. But I'm playing it like number 12, if we're playing Jeopardy. Name the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers in 2021. I'm still saying the answer is Aaron Rodgers until further notice.
I hear that. Well, Charles, always a pleasure having you on, especially in short notice. You had a long weekend this past weekend, so thank you again.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure to talk with you and talk ball. And as always, I learned things, so I appreciate that.